It is Red Sox Now on this Tuesday with me, Mike Antonellis, on social media at the Radio Mike. We are over 3,000 subscribers, and big thanks to all of you, guys and gals. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's all of you that makes the show go great, and it's all of you that it's going to make it even better because we have some things planned coming up, and we'll show you all that later. But we got some good things coming up for the channel, and of course, spring training is right around the corner. It's going to be in the 20s soon when spring training opens. We get the WBC, but this we'll see. I told a lot of you this on, and it's going to be one of our topics. You see, the side view is what we do, but we'll start seeing more Instagram stuff of players doing things, but they're going to start trickling down to their camps in Florida and Arizona. Even now, guys go there super early now. They can afford it. I don't even think they're paying for their places down there, but it's just different now in the modern game. These guys do like to get out there. So good stuff. Please subscribe to the channel because we have people watching that aren't subscribing, which is fine. There's no penalty, but if you could do that, I would appreciate it. And leave your comments. Hope you enjoyed the national championship game last night. Unbelievable stuff. So let's get into it. Topic number one. I know that we look at depth now of pitching as a strength. I do to a point. I'm not for putting Bayo in a trade because of where he is now. Let's go back to last year. I started doing this show last year in March. And for a solid month, when we knew what the rotation was. Now, there's a little loophole. I understand that Bayo and Giolito were hurt going into 2025. Okay. It was Crochet, Houck, Buehler, Fitz, and Sean Newcomb. So your depth with two injuries had three maybes. So while I do understand that you do have depth in the rotation, the expectations now for Bayo, who's coming off I don't think people understand what kind of year he's coming off. ERA in the threes. He had over 2 months where his ERA was under 3. He improved dramatically last year. But it's always about expectations. If he is your fourth starter, that's a pretty damn good arm to have at number 4. I understand that you got to trade something to get something. You start moving even more pieces, it does thin out, and I put higher value on pitching. So that's fine. I understand that they need a third baseman and all this. But then you say that they did do that. And it's Crochet, Suarez, Gray, Oviedo, and Early. I'm not saying that's bad, but to me that takes more of a hit. Bayo is a 4, Oviedo, or maybe Early. We don't know yet. I mean, we honestly don't know what's going to happen. Those guys is your 5. You know, that 4 and 5 is where I'd rather sit. So I know it's coming up. And listen, if they end up doing that and they go with Early and Oviedo, I won't love it. Again, I'll support the moves. I don't have to agree with it. But I just think that some are getting like too caught up with the depth. Oh yeah, we got all these. We do, but some aren't ready. And Bayo is a proven big league guy. And we're talking about a team taking the next level, and you have 4 legit starters. I would rather do it that and then compensate offensively. Unless you're getting somebody crazy. I guess my point is I'm not in love with a Bayo Duran for Paredes. If it's somebody different, maybe, but I just think that we get caught up sometimes in all these pitchers that we're acquiring and think that will be no big deal if you let some go, because things are weird in this game. You know, guys can take steps forward. They can take steps back. I know Bayo could probably take a step back. I just think he's young enough. 3+ years to me is not the end. I'm not completing his story yet. And a dramatic improvement for last year. And I know he's working hard with Pedro and a lot of people to get even better next year. So again, it's like when you move a player from third to second. Like Marcelo Meyer's offensive expectations at third are always going to be a little more different than they'd be at second because you want your third baseman to bring you, different offensive expectations. What the beat writer is saying about the moves, Brian McTaggart, who I follow, this is what I do a lot when the Red Sox are in talks or rumored with a team. I look at their view because their view is going to be much better. They're going to have more inside information. And what Brian has said, yeah, it is a crowded infield, but they do want potentially to have Paredes play all over the diamond. They have, he said, yep, there is a possibility of moving him, but he made it sound like the bigger guy they would rather move is Christian Walker, but he has a $20 million tag. This is Christian Walker is another player that I know some teams. I don't know if the Red Sox, but there was some teams that passed on him. He's a really good first baseman, by the way. But I remember his fan bases being mad. The teams passed on him. I don't think $20 million is that unreasonable. But they can't seem, he's 34. So it's just the way things are now. So I would watch that. If Christian Walker gets traded, then Isak is out of the loop. But Brian brought that up as something the Astros are going to do, and playing Paredes all over the diamond. And Alvarez will be exclusively a DH next year. And not sure what they're going to do with Altuve. So I thought it was interesting. It wasn't really with conviction about Paredes. I wanted to hear, and it was on MLB Network, and I read some of Brian's stuff as well. So look out for that. So if we see Christian Walker on the move, then we know Paredes will not come to Boston. Hey, listen, I'm 52. I don't mind saying my age. And I know that sometimes I'm not open to some analytic stuff. I'm not for, which is okay. There is some old school things that I'm not for. There are some analytics things that I absolutely adore. I do think we do live in sports and in society where like you cannot. It's like I have to hate analytics or love it. Like it's ridiculous that And I saw a lot of comments on this post, and people goof on Driveline and Google Driveline. I do think they do some really good work, and you have to see the latest what they did with Kyson Witherspoon. And where I look at it like this: what do I care if Witherspoon is using technology to get better? We use technology with like you could say like our cell phones and the technology we have is our version, the non-sports analytics, right? We use our iPads. We use a lot of things, ChatGPT, AI. We use a lot of things in our daily life. But for some reason in sports still, if anything now they're using technology for, they're getting goofed on a lot. And I do think some of the stuff can be wacky, but it's new to me. The younger generation, to them, it's normal. But when I sit and look at what Driveline, and you got to find this video, it's all over social media. They can teach with grips and with all the analytics stuff that they have. They now can with computer data teach people how to grip a pitch a certain way, and then when he's throwing it, they use the data to show how sharp or how good the pitch is. They taught this kid a sweeper that he threw in Driveline on their mound, and he got the most horizontal break, I think, ever of a pitch like this or something. He learned it in 30 seconds, and there's a really good video that I retweeted. And I want people to be open-minded about this stuff because I saw the comments, and the comments are all analytics is ruining baseball. Analytics is not ruining baseball. This is just, it's ridiculous to say, it's same with you replay people in football. It's not ruining the game. It's the most absurd. How is it ruining a sport means that the sport would suffer. Major League Baseball's then back-to-back record revenue years. The NFL continues to dominate. It's just you have to be open-minded about things. And these kids like it. And I will agree, does some of that stuff stunt growth in other areas? Probably, but that's kind of in any generation or era of sports. That has happened. The old school player did not work out and did not take care of his body and did not eat the way that these guys do. I don't want to say they didn't take it as serious, but they didn't take nutrition or weight training as serious. Part of it was because they had to work in the off season, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't eat better. There was not an emphasis, to make sure your body looked the way it does now. And and we don't have an issue with guys looking better and performing better. So every era will have something. And this era of fans in 30 years, they're going to be like, geez, when we had our basic analytics, it was so much better. That's just what happens. But I really like this. I think you should just Google Kyson Witherspoon. And if this kid who is already an elite arm can get better, I don't care if R2D2 or Twiggy from Buck Rogers teaches him. I don't care. It shouldn't matter. You get better, you get better. Right? Twiggy's I hope people know who Twiggy is. We do have a pretty good older fan base. All right. Big fan of that show. Aaron Gray too. Big fan. Let's get to your comments. Mary Mancini 778 about Carlos Narvaez. Did play and catch a lot, so I feel he got worn down towards the end of the season. Yeah, also too, first full year in the big leagues. Mentally draining. I thought, considering it was his first full year, I think it's a very underrated story. We kind of just we do this. We're all guilty of it. Oh yeah, Garrett Crochet. Yeah, okay. Pretty damn good. There's three. If you want to get technical, there's two other guys on Crochet's level. You have one of them. Yeah, that trade was last offseason. That's what I get all the time. Okay, trading for a guy like that is a franchise changing move. It is. It changes everything. I've talked to people about this all the time, from other fan bases, from other scouts, just saying when you have a guy like that in your rotation. But then catching, the fact that they just pulled that trade off, and it's like, yeah, that was last year. Okay, it's a starting catcher in the big leagues, a scarce position of priority. You know how hard it is to find, we talk about third base, catchers, and they got him from the Yankees. And I thought, he's playing in Boston didn't matter to him. He handled everything. Brand new pitching staff. You're catching an ace. I thought, and he's 26, he's a little bit older. I thought it was a really underrated storyline of 2025. Because it wasn't initially the guy, if you remember. But to have stability there, I don't think any of us were expecting that kind of performance. 15 home runs, pitchers fell in love with him, and now you got maybe someone for 10 years. So I think overall, when we look at if I took 5 great stories of 2025, he is right in there because of how incredibly difficult that position can be just to fill. Do people know the Sandy Leone story? The Red Sox at the time, I don't know, sometimes we forget things. They had zero catchers. I've been in the organization since '05, and I've seen where we haven't even have a 40-man guy catching in AAA. Now, they've changed that now. Sandy Leone was DFA'd. And there's a great story about this. Goes to Pawtucket, and his hitting all of a sudden goes through the roof. And he said, Rich Gedman. It was all Rich. I've had a lot of players tell me what Rich has done for them. Geddy, he's incredible. But think about, that whole thing. Same with Veritek. I've interviewed him 2-3 times. He used to be a roving instructor. Saw him a lot in Portland. He did our winter banquet in Portland. And when I asked him about being traded, he said, I was not good. It's interesting to get their perspective. He said, I was a wreck behind the plate. Gary Tuck fixed him. He said it took me years to be better, and he didn't blame Seattle. He was not good defensively. And you've got a pretty damn good one already, which I know a lot of you don't take it lightly, but I think there should be more praise to that move, because what it looks like when you don't have it. Same with those other positions. You don't have a shortstop, center fielder, third base. Tubester 9. I didn't even mention Christian Campbell's probably going to be a solid major leaguer. He could totally win second again this spring. We'll see. I don't know. I doubt it, because if he's playing outfield in winter ball, odds are he's not playing second base in spring training. They would not have him go to winter ball to play outfield if they were going to have him play second. That's exactly where you play a position of need, and that tells me he's not in the plans. What's happening with Christian Campbell, and it's fair, once you get a contract like that, the expectations have completely changed from the fans' view, right? If he didn't have that $60 million attached, even if he was in the big leagues for a month, we would just say, oh, that didn't work out. We wouldn't really be talking about him as much. Once you get that dollar amount, then there's this thing that, hey, is he going to be up there? I do think he's absolutely talented. What happened in the big leagues is normal. I mean, it happens. That happens a lot. I honestly don't know what the right answer is. And I think that's okay for right now. He has not looked good at playing the infield. I don't know if he can be a good outfielder. We'll see. I don't know if you can trade a guy like that. Probably not. $60 million. I do think he could be a big league hitter. I don't know if that's when that is. Either working on his stance. He's quieter. I think the problem with this is what every organization fears, is that he wasn't fully developed. That's what they, sometimes when people get upset when they hold guys back, why, this guy's been playing well. It happened to Jackie Bradley Jr. Jackie was doing some really good things in the minor leagues, and people were asking why. And I remember our coaches telling me there are certain things that you have to learn. It's not just about the back of the baseball card. And I understand that's where people go, and you should. And of course, many, fans that aren't around the game and aren't privileged like I am to ask these questions, because I ask those questions. It's not just about hitting and fielding. Like one thing that Jackie wasn't doing right, he consistently wasn't throwing to the right bases. He was overthrowing. He was doing things, the little things that they knew in the big leagues teams would take advantage of, and they didn't want that stuff to continue. So there were little things that they work on with players. But I think with Campbell and our coaches and managers, this is out there. There were a lot of things that he just wasn't up to speed yet. He just wasn't a good defender. And he hasn't played a ton of baseball. I think he started playing baseball in high school at 15. Huge wild card. But we'll know right away. But from my experiences, when a player does not play a certain position, like if you play winter ball in left field and center and right, you're not going to come to spring training and play second. I wouldn't think. If they do that, then I'm wrong. And I don't know if they were doing that to showcase him. I have no idea. But he's a fascinating story in a list of a lot of fascinating storylines that the Red Sox have had this offseason with Bregman, with their pitching, with Christian Campbell, with the outfielders. There's a lot of sub-stories, and where will they head next? And we haven't even gotten into talking about the bullpen, which I think is pretty much locked up. I don't think they have to do a ton of things, and it could be internal candidates, but they could add one or two guys, or maybe just one. This is the best one that we got. Carl Uberson, 3777. He went to the Pats game on Sunday. What a game. What a game that was. Thank you, everyone, for watching Red Sox Now. It's all presented by FanArch. Give me a follow on my social channels. I do see a lot of you are following me now on all of them. Yeah. I got some new people, here on X. So keep doing that. And the Discord. We love the Discord. We have conversations all day. I'm looking at it right now. Joe Sox, who's an active Discord poster, posting that the Nationals have signed minor league contract with left-hander Zach Penrod, who I love. That could hurt the Red Sox, but listen, they have so many arms. I really like Penrod. I think he could be a closer. But he's reunited with Paul Taboni and Devin Pearson, who are in Boston. So Discord, you can get that through my email, antonellis.michael@gmail.com, or I have a link on my X as well. Enjoy your Tuesday. Hopefully we have some Red Sox news. And we'll talk to you on Wednesday on Red Sox Now. And as always, go Sox.